Hello guys, hello fellow simmers. My name is Panos. I'm a real-world Airbus A320 pilot, and I would like to welcome you to my channel with a brand new video today. Flying an Airbus A321 with cyclists from American Airlines down to Seattle International Airport. Now in this video, I would like to introduce the technique we are using, which is the flat tree landing. Nowadays, more and more airlines utilize the technique, utilize this operation. And I thought that it may be funny and interesting as well to make a video introducing that. Now, we are approaching Seattle, as you can see. We are at almost overhead Papa Delta Tango, which is the initial point in the transition for Chin's 5 arrival over at Seattle, which takes us over some mountainous terrain, all the way to Seattle International Airport. We are 80 miles away from our descent point, so it's a good time to prepare ourselves for the arrival onto Seattle. For these reasons, I will go to the iPad over there, and initially I will obtain the weather of Seattle right now. We have the meta, first of all, and well, it's the old one. In a few minutes we should have a new one for ourselves. So at the moment we are gonna use this one. 360 degrees, 9 knots, 10 statute miles, scattered clouds, nothing really important for us, at 22,000 feet. Temperature is at 22 and the altimeter is 2999, which we are gonna set already on our standby altimeter right now. 2999, perfect. And now we are going to prepare ourselves for the arrival and the approach in Seattle. So for the arrival we have Chin's 5 arrival, as you can see over there, over from Papa Delta Tango all the way as you can see, with a series of waypoints to Chin's. Thereafter it should be Rudder intersection, which has a restriction over there. All other airports landing north, which is our case today, with speed at 250 knots and maintain and cross at 12,000 feet. Thereafter, of course, come and over before we turn left on a heading 250, expecting vectors from the radar or the ILS 34 left, or somebody's calling us, of course, and it's the auto ATC. We'll see about that. Well, as we can see here, also we have the highest obstacle over there, which is at 14,500 feet for us, very good, and high terrain all over the area. We should keep an eye on that, so we will maintain the restriction. And then all the way with the radar vectors over ILS 34 left. I have set it on the MCDU by a point C2, which we are not going to fly, but anyway, all the way, and thereafter, in case of go around, we will go to 900 and then left heading 300 outbound Seattle VOR 310 radial to workshop at 3,000 feet and then 5,000 feet to local. So 5,000 is gonna be the initial climb on the FCU. Very nice. We can see minimums of 579. And now we can go ahead and prepare ourselves. So on the flight plan, Everything has been inserted. I have also inserted the restriction over rudder intersection. And as you can see, via C-duct all the way down to runway 34 left. Thereafter, the go around is 900, left getting 300 to the A321 from Seattle. So for this reason, I'm gonna go on the Rudder page, select Seattle viewer on both sides, and radial 310 on captain side. ILS India Bravo Echo Juliet 110.75 and 345. Let's see here, India Bravo Echo Juliet 110.75, 344. Makes sense for us today. We have GPS primary of course. And now for the performance page, as discussed before, minimum set 579. Let's put it over there. I'm sorry guys, 579. The transition is a flight level 180. And now for the rest, I'm gonna set the current deities as retrieved from the real world one. 340 degrees 9 knots, 22 degrees and 29.99. And once we have the new one, in 5 minutes more or less, we are going to set it. Also, landing off 3, we'll set the V-approach later on, and make sure you select here on the GPWS panel, on the overhead panel, landing flap 3 as well, in order to avoid some new instance warnings over there. As we can see, extra 1.7 tons, more or less we are on the maximum landing weight, 77.8. On the secondary, I will set 3-4 right, as it is on the real world deities. And the minimums now for 3-4 right should be, let me see here, all stars, approach, where is it? ILS or block 3-4 right. And what do we have here? Again 572. So we are going over there on the MCDU, 572. That completes the MCDU preparation, and now also we have to calculate the landing performance. So for this reason, arrival performance, runway 34 left, refresh meta, apply meta, as for the real one 340, 9 knots, the rest can remain the same, and for the landing weight we have today 5.3 plus 72, 77.3. So I'm gonna put 77.5 over there. And as we can see, with low auto brake, even with flaps full, the factor landing distance overshoots the runway. So for this reason, I'm gonna select medium auto brake, and only then I'm going to select flaps straight. So now medium auto brake is set and flaps free over there. Now everything has been completed. We can check the company message first of all to see what's all about. So guys, I forgot to mention it's a load sheet, I don't know why, anyway accept. I forgot to mention I'm using the Winwing Perfect product, the MCDU, which helps me a lot guys over there. Anyway, I'm not sponsored by them, but I thought I should mention it because it's a very nice product and I think you all guys should have it. With that out of the way, we can see that we are approaching our descent. We are more or less 16 miles out. And once we start the descent, actually I'm going to perform the arrival briefing. So the pilot monitoring, of course, once more checks the MCDU and starts the briefing. So it's gonna be change 5 arrival, runway 34 right T4 left, I'm sorry, to Seattle initially, plate number 20-2, effectivity 18th August 23, MSA is at 7,000 feet, let's check everything over there, 7,000 feet, every point and restriction has been checked. And the highest obstacle is to the left of Rudder intersection at 14,500 as discussed. And thereafter, we are going for the ILS runway 34 left, plate 21-4, effectivity 12th of October 17. Highest obstacle to the right of the chart, more or less at 4,000 feet. Here, you cannot see it. And now, for the go around, it's gonna be straight ahead to 900. Thereafter, left heading 300 to intercept 310 from Seattle POR to Wexford intersection at or above 3,000 feet and continue on this radial to Lofal at or above 5,000, holding there. Stabilized callout should be at 1,400 feet. Elevation at 400 feet, and we have extra 52 minutes. All this. Now the pilot flying is gonna be fully managed ILS approach, idle reverse, medium auto brake. Let me interrupt you to start the descent initially. So descent, flight level 240 blue, and we'll check the rest. So idle reverse, medium auto brake, CONF 3, as already discussed, elevation 400, 1,400 the stabilized callout. The landing configuration may be at 2,000 feet in order to be on the safe side. And now you can see we are below Mach 98. We will vacate the runway to the right. Most probably I'm not going to put much effort on it if there is no traffic behind us. So I'm planning to vacate the runway from Zulu. As you can see over there, Zulu. All the way via Charlie, cross every runway, and thereafter Bravo to our Pakistan somewhere over there. Delta 11 if I remember correctly, we'll check it again. No other special or supplementary considerations for us today. Do you see any threats? Okay, it's gonna be the tail structure awareness, as we can see here as well as A321, exaggerated a little bit by flap 3, so gentle no flare. We'll discuss about it a little bit later as we are discussing the flap 3, pros and cons. And parallel arrival, so in case of breakaway maneuver, extra vigilant and listen to the ATC carefully. That's all for my side, and that's all for my side as well, so arrival briefing completed. Now, we're supposing that the ATC clears us for more descent. So, American 767 descend via the Change 5 arrival, Seattle altimeter 29999. Descend via the Change 5 arrival, Seattle altimeter 29999. American 767. So, I'm gonna set flight level 120 and set your altimeter. Altimeter 29999. Cross check. Leaving 27,800. Now, check, and that's it. Now guys, it's a good time to talk a little bit about flap 3 landing. We use flap 3 landing initially, and the most important thing, in order to save fuel. That's why we use it. Apart from some other reasons, which the most important one is when we have some failures or some strange wind conditions, if you allow me to say. So in case, for instance, for engine failure that would give us a degraded missed approach performance, we use flap 3 to have better climb gradient. That is the situation as well in the case if we have wind shear reported at the airport of destination, again for the same reason, to help us achieve better climb performance. Apart from these obvious reasons, Some airlines utilize the flap stay landings in order to save fuel. And this is the main advantage of flap stay landing. The reason for that is that if we check the pitch and power settings, we will see that for flaps full landing in an Airbus A320, we have more or less 4.55 degrees of pitch with an average N1 of 50%. And if we use flap stay landing, we have more or less 4.5 degrees pitch and 45% of N1 only. So from this, it's pretty much obvious that with less N1 we burn less fuel, so it's gonna be less fuel used. Now the disadvantage for it, because everything we try to utilize has advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage for it is of course the higher speed that we are going to use, and this for us means of course more brake wear during braking on the runway and longer landing distance. If we can live with that, I mean of course guys, if we set and check the arrival performance and the runway is long enough and there is no traffic behind us and so on, of course it's a good practice to use flap stay. Today now especially, that it's even more interesting, we are using an Airbus A321, which is longer. Anyway, we have tail strike awareness, and for this reason the approach with flap stay is more interesting. What I mean, if we look at the gap for the Airbus A321, we know that with the shock absorber fully compressed, the tail will hit the ground at 9.7 degrees pitch, which with fully extended shock absorber it's gonna be 11.5. For this reason we have a pitch fallout at 10 degrees of pitch, and as you understand, we only need a tiny amount of flare in order to reduce the vertical speed of the plane for landing. Any exaggerated movements over there will induce the tail strike in the Airbus A321. Now with that being said, as we are descending, we should get prepared ourselves for the landing. As you can see, we're approaching Rudder point. As you can see over there is a crest obstacle at 14,500 as discussed before. We're pretty much on a clear day, and okay, let's go and practice the landing in Seattle and see what is going to happen. Now I think it's about time to get also the new 80s in Seattle. Just in a moment. So pretty much nothing changed. As I can see here on my Navigraph charts, I will come with you guys to find it here in the iPad as well. So let me charge this first of all. Perfect. And as we can see now, Seattle Meta 165.360.10. Broken clouds, that's the only difference, 24 degrees and 2998. So let me set 2998 over there. 2998, cross check, leaving 14,900 now. Very good. Let's set all the constraints and so on. And let's set also the performance page on the MCDU. So 34010. Perfect product, guys. The Winwing MCDU. 24 degrees and the altimeter 2998. More or less we are approaching 50 miles over to Seattle. So let's go and turn on the seatbelts on, and let's go with the approach checklist. Approach checklist. Bar F, altimeter 2998. Altimeter 2998. Seatbelts on. Minimum. Bar 579. Auto brake, medium. Engine mode selector, normal. Approach checklist completed. Good. There's a mountain over there. And we are now, of course, below the mountain. And more or less, Seattle approach is gonna take us over from Hamburg and gives us vectors with a left turn in order to get established from the ILS of 34 left. That's what I expect, and he will clear us to descend to 8,000 feet, let's say, which is above MSA. So 12,000 magenta, alt magenta, and speed. First of all, as we can see, we're about to clear the mountains in a few moments over there. Oh, some turbulence also. And now descend 8,000 feet. Very nice. Very nice. 10,000 feet checks. Seatbelts on. Constraint ILS. Constraint ILS. And we have GPS primary. Seattle fuel identified. ILS not identified yet. 10,000 feet checks completed. And now we can see that it descends according to the profile. That is the reason actually that it descends only with 500 feet per minute. Since we can see here on the chart, let me see it with you guys. So we can see here that the minimum altitude is at 10,000 feet. So, and that's the case until Camby. After Camby is at 7,000. So, I'm gonna put a little bit more vertical speed minus 1,000. Seattle should be over there. And now let's suppose that the ATCs of approach of Seattle is taking over. So American 767 turn left heading 250, continue descent to 5000. Left heading 250, descent 5000, American 767. Heading 250, 5000 blue, and we are overhead humble. We can descend a little bit more, so 5000 with vertical speed minus 1800. Now, of course, it's a good time to sequence the flight plan. And I'm going to sequence the flight plan from Josta, which is at 4000. For this reason, I'm gonna go over there, then MCDU, direct, Josta, radial in should be 164, 165, let's say. According to our ILS over here, 165 should be the case. Set. And let's design this nav blue. Very nice. We can also select speed of 250 since the approach phase has been activated by itself. And let's drop down the speed a little bit more. And as you can see now that we are well clear of the mountains, ATC clears us to 4000. So American 767 descent 4000. And 4000 American 767. 4000 blue and reducing a little bit the rate of descent. There's our aircraft over there in the chart. Look at it. Now it's a good time to select the approach chart. And there we are. Over there. Very nice. Manage the speed. ILS has been identified. Looks like we're gonna need a little bit of speed brake. Just a tiny amount of it. Short time. So let's extend it. And I'm going to select speed 210 as well in order to achieve a continuous deceleration below the green dot and extend the flaps. We're about to get vectors for the final turn, guys, anytime now. So, American 767, turn right heading 300, clear for the ILS runway 34 left. Right heading 300, clear for the ILS runway 34 left, American 767. Okay, log start, heading 300, GS Blue, Cathedral AP 1+2, flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. And now again for deceleration purposes, I'm going to select speed 190. To get the speed below the green dot. Below, I'm sorry, the S speed, guys. And I have, of course, retracted the flaps, the speed brakes. Gee, what happened today? Alt star. Alt, flaps 2. Speed check, flaps 2. And let's go speed 180. Glide slope start. There's a cabin over there.
Hi, Captain. The cabin is now secure for landing.
Cabin secure. We have glide slope start. And for the go around altitude, 5000 blue. Check. Let's also select the Seattle CTAF. Seattle traffic, good day, American 767, ILSC for left, 10.5 miles, Seattle. And now we have managed to achieve a very nice approach, stabilized one, as you can see, stabilized speed 180 with the engines already above idle, almost at 50%, descending towards the glide path of runway 34 left, and anytime now at 2000 feet AGL we are going to extend the gear and select flaps 3 in final flaps configuration. Are they alive? Check. The typical speeds, pretty much everywhere in the world, unless otherwise instructed, is 160 by 4 miles, 170 by 5 miles, 180 by 6 miles. That's a good compromise. So 6 miles, 180, let's go, speed manage, gear down. Gear down. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Thank you. I also forgot these landing lights. Excuse me for that. Flaps 3, speed check. Flaps 3. And now let's go, landing checklist. Landing checklist ICA memo. That's landing no glue. Landing checklist completed. Suppose we are clear to land. And of course, like every time, 3 knots more on the V approach. It's gonna be more or less 50 meters more on the landing distance. And with that out of the way, oh, what happened? The speed, we have some wind shear over there. Look, very nice, interesting. 20-25 knots from the right, eh? 1000, stabilized, good. It's about time to take over manually. So autopilot off. Very stunning approach over the trees and the woods. As you can see, follow these flight directors over there, and you can see the tail stack at 10 degrees in the 321. Very nice. Let's follow the glide path. Continue.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 7, 5.
Spoilers. Reverse. Green. Decel. Very nice. As you can see, the maximum pitch was 5 to 5.5 degrees. That's it. 70 knots. Reverse is off. Auto brake off. Let's vacate this runway right over here. Seattle traffic America 767 runway vacated, taxiing to cross runway 34 center and 34 right now. On Echo. Seattle. So, clear right side, clear left side. We maintain, of course, the speed, maintain the flaps and so on. Clear left side, clear right side. I'm going to switch off only the landing lights. And take that timer. Guys, make sure every time you cross a runway to cross it as quickly as possible. Like now, 18 to 20 knots. That's it. Now that we are on the other side of the airport, we can reduce the speed to the normal taxi speed, clear left, clear right, and of course taxi to the gate. I reduced a little bit more. Anyway, there we are. Perfect. As you can see, guys, as you have seen, guys, I'm sorry about that. Very nice and stable approach with the flat steer. Nothing happened at all. Higher speeds, more stabilized, especially if you have seen the wind shift at 1000 feet. It's better to have flap steer on this kind of situation. And of course, if you use it right, you will save a lot of fuel. Let's taxi now at the gate. Of course, once more, making the after landing and switching off everything the way I like to find an aircraft when I'm entering. That's it. Of course, start the APU. And our stand would be, of course, Delta 11. So it's gonna be Delta 10 because we don't have Delta 11. No follow me for us today. And Delta 11. Starting the APU and the GPWS flap steer up. Very nice. Three minutes elapsed. Now it's about time to switch off one engine once the APU becomes available. Every time we switch off an engine, we make sure that the aircraft will taxi flawlessly to the parking stand. Otherwise, it's very difficult if the plane stops to make it taxi again on single engine. Okay, APU is on. Very nice with the brake speeds over there. So engine 2 shutdown confirm. Number 2 confirmed. Very nice. Electrical pump on. Let's make sure also it's working. Perfect. And we have managed to get out of the center line. Now that's our point of entering the ramp. Looks like we hit an upslope over there. But we will make it work. I will try to keep N1 below 35%. And once more we are accelerating. That's very good. That's it. It looks like once more we are gonna hit an upslope over there. Thank God there's no one behind us, guys. Delta 10 is to the right side. With the upslope, of course. There it is, they are waiting for us. There it is, so let's go. Lights off. Way too tight to park an aircraft over there. Too far. Let's see, I don't think it's too far, but anyway. Parking brake on. Stop the timer, of course. Shut down the screens. Yellow electric pump auto. There it is. And shutting down the remaining engines. APU is available. Very nice. Let's go with the after parking items. 2000 standby. Now, of course, as I told you, switch off everything. There it is, 2000 standby. Let's switch off the fuel pumps, and now for the captain, we'll check also, I'm sorry for that guys, the position monitoring looks okay, the dip. And now for the captain, we have below 10%, so beacon off, his lights disarmed, seatbelts off. Also I forgot the strobes because I crossed the runway. That's it. We have also external power, so let's get advantage of it. And we can now deboard the aircraft. PCA on as well, so we don't need the APU bleed. The aircraft should start now getting deboarded. External, so also APU off. Very nice. And what else we have here? We have the parking checklist, of course. Parking checklist, parking record chocks set, engines off, wing lights off, fuel pumps of course off. Parking checklist completed. For the company messages, what we have, let's check that as well in order to conclude our flight. We have the arrival message, very nice. Well guys, thank you very much for watching my video. Feel free, of course, to comment. Any comments will be more than welcome. Feel free to suggest any ideas for another video. What would the next video be? And please take a time and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much for watching guys. Have a nice afternoon. Bye bye.